Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Sheen, and today I want to talk to you about the two-letter word no. So we'll talk about a few things about no. First thing is, whenever we hear the word no, I'm sure all of you felt it with me, there is a bit of discomfort and we don't like hearing the word no. And whatever situation it is, let's say you try to walk into a shop and they're like, no, it's closed. Or you ask for something and they say, no, we don't have it anymore. You apply for a job and they tell you that, no, we don't want you. All of this is just feelings of disappointment, feeling of, basically, it's just not nice, right? And especially when we're talking about no in the context of, let's say, application to something, whether it is education for a job or anything like this, or a bank loan, and when you said no, it's all of that is just negative feelings that result in you feeling rejection, right? Rejection is so often linked to the word no. Whether it is you ask a friend to hang out or you ask someone to do something for you and it's no, again, you feel rejected. And there is this correlation is something that we need to work on, right? So thinking about this myself, I've struggled with this a lot. I do not deal with rejection very well. I take it very personally. And here we're talking about job rejection mostly. And it's really hard to disassociate this bad feeling when we hear the word no to something we have asked for, because we feel like we are inadequate or we are not worthy of getting what we wanted. But reflecting a little bit back on my own life experiences, every time I was said no, it led me to somewhere else, which was way better than what I wanted initially. And I'm sure if you also do this reflection, you will see that no is not a bad thing. And there is the famous saying that everyone uses. I'm not even sure what the origin is, but rejection is just redirection, right? So given that we can't really disassociate no with rejection, we can rephrase what rejection means. And here what we're saying is that a no, which we think is rejection, is actually a redirection. So let me give you some for instances so it makes a bit more sense. So when I was thinking of going to university and I was still in school, I really wanted to do medicine. And I thought, no, I really want to do medicine. I'm going to apply for medicine. And a lot of people told me that, no, medicine might not be for you. I had the grades and everything. This was not going to be the issue. It was more that a lot of people were saying that, if you want to come back to Mauritius, it is quite crowded, the scene. And there are so many more exciting things that you could be studying, so many things where we think you'd excel more. And you could, really go further up the ladder instead of just doing medicine, because that was what I knew. And then I thought, okay, given that all of my guidance counselors, or whatever they call them, were saying that, I actually took it on board and I had a chat with my parents and they were all agreed, and I ended up going to Oxford to do material science. I could have never gone to Oxford to do medicine just because, I was not training as well as other people who applied to medicine in Oxford do. And I thought, okay, cool. Maybe if I did apply to medicine, I would not have gone to Oxford. And then I ended up going to Oxford, which was the best years of my life. So I am very grateful for that. And then after my undergrad, I was meant to stay in Oxford for a PhD. And last minute, the day before, I had to apply for my visa to come back to the UK to do my PhD at Oxford, had my room booked and everything, and my funding fell through. And that was just the biggest disappointment of my life. And they were like, well, no, we don't have the money anymore for this year. Why don't we try again maybe next year? And I was like, oh, wow, okay. Again, big rejection, big no. And I ended up spending 1 year in Mauritius And it was such a good break. I think I needed it after the 4 intense years from Oxford. I ended up, getting my driving license, spending 1 whole year at home, which I hadn't done in 4 years. And it was a really, really good year. And I ended up then reapplying for a PhD, but this time to Cambridge. So then instead of going back to Oxford, I went to Cambridge the year after. And I have to say, I thought, I wanted to stay in Oxford. All of my friends are there. I love the place. But instead, I got to go to both Oxford and Cambridge. I got to make new friends. I met so many wonderful people. And I had the best time. Again, it was redirection. I went to somewhere else, which was way better than the original plan that I had. And again, after that, I started applying for jobs, and I think I've whined about this already in a different video, where there was a company I really wanted, but then they said no to me twice. And obviously, at that time, it was more of a heartbreak. But then when I think about it in retrospect, right, and then you're like, okay, I just wasn't ready for that, or it was not the right time for me to get into the industry when I applied 2 years before. And then because of the no that they said to me, it made me apply to other places and think of going outside of the UK. And now look where I ended up. I ended up in Dubai working for a company that I absolutely love. And this is incredible, right? Again, it was just the plan that I had did not work out. And they said no. I went back and tried again. They said no again. And now it forced me to expand my view of things and to really consider other options rather than just the one option I was really holding on to with both hands. And every time, like, these are just really obvious examples, right? But there are also examples in my private life, and we've all been through things where we really wanted something, we've been said no, and we were crushed by the no, but then it led you to other things, other doors opened. And I think we need to retrain our mind to understand that no is not a bad thing. A no is a feedback, right? And it is either that you are not ready for this, you need to train better, you need to do a bit more before you are ready to take on this challenge, or it can mean that this is not the right thing for you and you need to find something else that's better suited to you. Or it can mean that this is not the right time, right? And you need to be a little bit more patient. And I am a firm believer in that if you're working really hard towards something, when it is the right time, it will happen. And it might not happen in the exact form that you thought it would happen or you wanted it to happen, but it will be the best thing for you and it will happen when it is the right time. And this is just my belief in the universe and my faith that this is how things work. And we want things and we either get it or we wait and we get something else that's better. So I think this is a beautiful way of looking at things and just to get you through life. So very, very strong recommendation here of just, remembering that a no is a feedback. It is not rejection, or it is just redirection. If they said no, there'll be something else that's better. So it's just about keeping going. And that's my advice. And also, while we are on the topic of the word no, I think a lot of people also struggle with saying no. And I am one of those people. I think we just don't like saying no because we want to please everyone. We don't want to upset. If it's a friend, we don't want to cause upset by saying no. If it's in a workplace, out of fear, we might not want to say no. And sometimes, it's just, you want to avoid the discomfort of saying no. And this has led to, me going to places that I didn't want to go to, or just seeing people I want to see. And all of this just happens because of a little cowardly moment of not wanting to say no. And again, this is something I've been working on and something I've been reading about. But it is really important to be able to say no, because if you say yes to something, let's say you say yes to going to a party that you didn't want to go to, and you end up going to that party, you will hate being there, right? And then you will resent that person who asked you to come, and you will resent yourself for not saying no. So it's all in all just negative energy, and it is not helping anyone. No one is feeling good about the situation. And this resentment that you're feeling for that person who asked, they are innocent there, right? They just asked and you said yes. but it's just causing a strain on your relationship. It's just not necessary, right? And it's better to say no, and politely, right? You don't need to be rude or anything when you say no. You can politely say no. You can show gratitude for being invited to things, or for being asked to be, included in things and stuff. Like, just show your gratitude, being like, thank you for thinking of me, thank you for trying to include me, but no, I can't make it. And you can give a reason if you actually can't make it, if you're busy, or like whatever reason, or you can just say, this is not my thing. But like, you need to say no clearly as well. Don't say, I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe. Like, that's also awful. Just don't put someone in that limbo area where they don't know, like, are they on board, are they not on board, I'm not sure. So just be clear with your no as well, so that the person knows not to expect you or not to rely on you for this particular situation. So be firm with your no, and know that it's okay to say no. Even in the workplace, if you feel like, you are too busy to do what you're being asked to do, you need to raise it and say, well, this is the situation, this is what I'm working on. Does this take priority? Does this not take priority? I don't think I can take this on. And just being able to explain things, right? And just open the dialogue, have a conversation. You don't need to necessarily say no, but you don't need to say yes immediately without raising the alarm that this is not something you're entirely comfortable with. And it's just being comfortable with taking up space and expressing yourself. And you saying yes to everything is also bad for your own mental health, for your own sake, right? Because if you keep saying yes to everything, you are not taking care of yourself, and you're not prioritizing what is important for you. And therefore, you don't have time now to do things that you really want to do. So that makes you miserable. And then it's just a vicious cycle, right? We need to be able to say no. And there are different ways of learning how to say no and being a bit more confident in saying no. But the main thing is realizing that we can't say yes to everything, and this is not helping anyone, even if it's to our friend, and thinking that, if I say yes, they'll be happy, I might as well just do it. But yes, that's a bit of a gray area, but you should be able to tell them, look, this is not entirely my scene. How would you feel about me not coming, for example? Just being open. Communication is key, but avoid saying yes to everything is very important. As I'm saying, the word no is not something we need to stay away from. It's something we need to adopt into our life and be okay with. And when something comes up that you don't want to do, you should say no to it, so that you have control over your calendar, for example. You have control over the things that you're spending your energy on. And this will really protect your mental health, and it will really protect you and your relationships, and just give you the space to breathe and give you control over your own life. And I think that's something we definitely all need in these uncertain times. So overall, to wrap it up, it's okay when people say no to us, and it's okay for us to say no to people. It's just about understanding why we feel the way we feel, and how is this linked to, how are these negative emotions linked to the word no, and how do we cut off this link so that we have, better, healthier and more clear vision of what our life is. So I hope this was helpful in any way. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.